Arc Raiders 3rd Expedition is going to require you to reach a specific damage threshold in order to get all 5 skill points. That magic number is 100,000 damage, which can be done to any arc or player in the game. A few key notes that you're going to want to take into consideration is 1, you have 13 days in order to complete this challenge. From April 28th to May 11th until the expedition window closes is the time frame you have to do all this damage. Number 2, this damage is individual based. So if you play with a squad, each individual damage to whatever players or arc you're doing will only be counted specifically from what you do. This is not a team project. Number 3, it's important to note that whether you survive a raid or do not survive, the damage count will still make your progress. If you fail to get 100,000 damage, that doesn't mean you will not receive skill points. There is a progression chart for each skill point. For 1 extra skill point, you will need to do 5,000 damage. For 2 skill points, you'll need to do 10,000 damage. For 3 skill points, you'll need to do 30,000 damage. For 4 skill points, you'll need to do 50,000 damage. And then for all 5 skill points, you will need to do 100,000 damage. Embark has also confirmed that a very good round would be 8 to 10,000 damage, and that is achievable for every raider. They also mentioned that a bastion is equal to 5,000 damage. So if you take down a bastion in every single raid that you can, you're already halfway to your goal of 10,000 damage per raid. Now, if we take a look at bastions specifically, you can easily destroy a bastion without even firing a single bullet. Multiple ways to do this would be by deadline, blaze grenades, trailblazers, or wolf packs. In my recent testings, 8 blaze grenades will destroy a bastion, as well as 1 deadline, 3 wolf packs, or about 5 trailblazers. If you mix and match these as well with gunplay, the bastion should be very easy to take down. If you don't have access to blueprints like the wolf pack, deadlines, trailblazers, or blaze grenades, it's worth noting that you could still purchase some of these items from your traders. Apollo will supply you with 1 deadline a day, as well as 3 trailblazers. Likewise, you can get a hall cracker to go along with your loadout from the gun shop. Now, this also doesn't mean you have to specifically target bastions. That's just giving you an overall base number of where your damage is going. You can also target any other arc in the game, like bombardiers, leapers, and rocketeers. The point of the bastion just explains that targeting the bigger arc is going to be the best form of progression. I've also came across this on TikTok from the Speranza signal, and it gives you the total amount of arc to reach the damage threshold. So this is a good chart to also reference to know what is being contributed to your points as you go along in your raids. Having a healthy loadout is really going to help during your raids. You're going to want to carry something to protect yourself from PvP as well as the arc. So an anvil or renegade paired with an hall cracker would be your most budgeted style loadout. With a handful of secret grenades and possibly a deadline in your safe pocket, you can easily get 3,000 plus damage in a raid. And if you do the math on that, 3,000 damage on a raid at about 3 raids a day should put you right over 100,000 damage in the 13-day window. Now, I know for all the PvE police out there, if you don't use a Jupiter or an equalizer, then you're just doing it wrong. However, I know most people may not have access to these things or the crafting material needed. So budgeting into every day is still a reasonable way to go about getting your extra damage points. And if you're in the 3rd expedition without needing to catch up, you should eliminate any gear fear you have, because your stash value really means nothing. So if you have the gear, go out and use it. If you are in the middle of the 1st and 2nd expeditions, catch up. You will need some stash value to get all your catch-up skill points. That information can be found on the Arc Raiders website, which is attached to the description below. So to recap everything, you will need 100,000 damage for the 3rd expedition to get all 5 skill points. If you fall short, you will still get skill points depending on the damage you provided during this 13-day window. Attacking arc and players are all reasonable ways to go about getting your damage points, and in my experience, players will choose violence on other players closer to the expedition, so be careful out there. As far as we know, there is not a 2-time multiplier for this challenge, so it does not matter what map condition you are choosing, as the damage count will be base form in any map condition. You're going to want to stay swift out there because all players on the expedition run will be doing the same thing. So targeting bigger arc will be the best form of progression. However, you could run into another raider doing the same exact thing. Matriarch runs may be the best option as well because the matriarch will spawn other arc nearby. You will be able to get a lot of damage in one sitting, hopefully with other players working together. Let me know in the comments if you opted in for the third expedition and how you will go about getting your damage challenge done. Good luck out there, raiders, and I'll see you in the next one.